Hello, I'm the 10-minute English teacher. Let's get you exam ready. Today we're thinking about Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, and I'm going to be providing you with my guide and summary to the first part of Act 2. Before we get going, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are plenty of things on the channel to help you know the play. My guide to the first part of Act 2. In front of you now are key images that relate to things that take place in the first part of Act 2. I'll walk you through them now. The act starts with Willie, who's in a very positive mood, contrasting the way that he felt at the beginning of Act 1, speaks to Linda about his future plans. So he's in a very positive mood because the boys have got a meeting with, Biff has a meeting with an investor called Bill Oliver. He talks about the idea of building a summer house and then decides upon building 2 summer houses for the boys to come and visit with their families and children. This is all completely unrealistic and farcical. The man is in his 60s and the boys are not even in relationships. Linda, who is more of a realist and has a bit more insight, contrasting Willie's metaphorical blindness, talks about the payment of their mortgage term coming up to an end, and talks about the house having served its purpose. So there's clearly a difference in the way the two see the world, but she entertains Willie and his ideas. It's at that point that the phone rings. Linda's in a positive mood because Willie is so happy and full of optimism and hope, and she at this point seems to think that things also might be taking a positive turn, and she has noticed that the rubber pipe has been missing and lets Biff know that it's gone. She's hoping that Willie's moved it himself to recognise that, as he recognises that there's something to live for after all. And then Biff lets her down and lets her know that he was the one that moved the pipe. So that's something that that foreshadows things going wrong for the family. And then we've got the meeting that Willie has with Howard. So at the beginning of the act, Willie talks about the idea that he's going to go to see Howard, his boss, and ask for a job in the office so that he doesn't have to travel on the roads any longer, and goes to speak to Howard. Howard has got a recording device that he's bought, which has allowed him to take recordings of his family, and that's something that he plays to Willie, and it's also a meeting that just doesn't have the significance that Willie was hoping for. Howard is barely interested in Willie being there as Willie speaks to him. We're expecting this to be a poignant moment where there's hope for Willie and we can see resolution on the horizon, but instead what we get is a moment where his fortunes really are reversed. So this is the peripeteia for Willie, and it's also a moment of bathos where we're expecting something wonderful and instead we get an anticlimax and triviality. Willie then pours his heart out and pleads for another chance, talks about money, and pitifully continuously reduces his offer to work for Howard for less and less. And then he speaks about Alaska and his father and how his father had an adventurous streak, and then mentions Dave Singleman, who was a travelling salesman who died when Willie was a younger man, and talks about the idea of personality and comradeship, and then desperately talks about remembering Howard as a baby and remembering Howard's father asking him about the name Howard in a desperate plea for a position at the company. The opposite happens and he loses his job as a travelling salesman on the road. So rather than coming away with a better position, he's leaving with none. And it's at this point that Ben appears, mentioning time again, and speaks to Willie. And then we've got a return to the day of the football game. So there was this big moment that's been referred to previously where Biff was due to play a football game that was a big moment in his life that was going to lead to him possibly having a career as an American footballer, but certainly an academic career, which is tied to his achievements as a sportsman. So we're on our way to watch him play football, and Willie is getting his family into the car. And it's a bit of a moment of positivity at that stage. But we know that this is a recollection of his past, and in actuality, things have gone very badly wrong at this point. And that is the first part of Act 2. If you want to take it further, watch the video again and mute the sound. Can you talk your way through the key moments in time with the yellow marker? If you get stuck, unmute and you can hear the explanation from me. Can you find key quotations from the text to link to each key moment? That is an extra task for you to do to help you know the play and the things that are said by the characters. Check out the other videos on my channel. I'll continue to add content, and feel free to ask for something you'd like to see me cover in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and keep revising.